I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the beer won. Sorry, not to serenade your ears and make those ears bleed and whatnot. But welcome in to night 2 of this Oktoberfest live series of beers, right here with yours truly, Nutmeg 2 Palmetto. And it is another a local beer. It is another a local beer of the Oktoberfest variety. So we also have appropriate glassware, not so much with the logo, but RIP to Plank Owner Brewing, closed down with the intentions of reopening, and those ambitions never came to fruition. So I will very much still honor all my friends of the former Plank Owner Brewing with this Stein that I actually did get from One Williams Beer Delivery. So appropriate glassware, even if the logo is different. But is it technically inappropriate if the brewery doesn't exist anymore? You're just honoring the brewery. Anyway, before I ramble on too much, like I said, it is night 2 of Oktoberfest here with Nutmeg 2 Palmetto, and we are going to have another Oktoberfest selection. Now this one is called Lawtoberfest. Lawtoberfest, and it is by Legal Remedy, and as you may imagine from the name of the brewery, Legal Remedy, most if not all, probably actually really probably just say all of Legal Remedy's beers have some kind of uh, litigation type of theme to the name of the beer. It's their shtick, as you would assume from the name of the brewery. They are out of Rock Hill. I was actually just up in Rock Hill yesterday, as a matter of fact, yesterday morning. And it is another offering of this style of seasonal beers that I found at my local bottle shop, which, just like the one in the previous live, also $2.99 a can. So $2.99 for a 16 ounce, you think, wow, great deal. $2.99 for a 12 ounce, okay, that's probably what it should be. It's certainly not going to be much lower than that. 12 fluid ounce, 6.3. So for a lager, an Oktoberfest lager, 6.3 is actually a pretty decent gravity for that type of style. There's not too much special on the can. I mean, there's some grains and kind of barley imagery on that, but it's mostly just kind of like this classy type of floral artwork. Legal Remedy Brewing Company, justice never tasted so good. That is their usual tagline. Quote, ... legally required. So, legally, I guess that's kind of a pun because it's on Oktoberfest in Oktoberfest season. So, they're kind of like, legally required. We got to make an Oktoberfest beer. Oh, I did see someone hop on momentarily. That was sad. I was hoping for a comment or someone I know, but I guess not. Very, very sad. Uh, anyway, there's not a whole lot else on the can. Best kept cold. Yeah, well, obviously. I did keep it cold, even though it was kept on the shelves at bottles. But it's a lager, so not overly concerned with aging it or whatnot. We will give a shout out, our usual shout out to One Flight Down with the Shakluk. And it does not say whether this is a Martzen style or a Fest beer style. So I'm very interested to find out if Lawtoberfest, which style of Oktoberfest it goes with. And there's really only one way to find out, isn't there? Hard pour, you know where you're at. Ooh, be careful. I thought I could rush it to fill up the glass. Certainly looks darker hue, which would imply more Martzen than Fest beer. But as we learned with the one in the previous live, that Martzen beer by Westbrook, they very much it was very much a hybrid of the two. All right. Yeah, hold that up to the light. Very similar color, actually, to that Westbrook Marson beer. Kind of an apple cidery color. It's maybe a little darker than that, but not by much. It's that kind of more amber, dark orange in the center. It gets a little lighter around the edges. The head's kind of the same type of white. Maybe even a little bit of a pinkish hue in that white. From the orange notes, from those malt notes or caramel notes, whatever the case may be. I'm actually a little upset they didn't get any description on the can about this, but they probably just wanted to push it out because it's a one-off for, the season, and they'll probably might even do something. They won't do it again until next year. Maybe they'll do something different for next year for their Oktoberfest. Who knows? But yeah, I'm guessing by the color it's probably going to be more Marchen than Fest beer. But again, after last night, I do not want to make any assumptions. So we'll get the aromatics. Okay, it threw me off at first because I got this almost kind of a funky fruit flavor, but that's kind of went away. So maybe something died in my nose. I do get more of that kind of grain bill, yeasty type of traditional lager essence. And this stein is obviously more than 12 ounces. This half liter is obviously more than 12 ounces because this is completely empty. Oh, wait. Now it's completely empty. And it's obviously run all the way down there already. But yeah, I get traditional lager smell. So off the aroma, I'm guessing probably more Fest beer than Marchen, despite the color, because I'm not getting any of those sweet malty notes. I'm not getting any caramel. Not getting any kind of that like candied sensation from it. So my guess on the Lawtoberfest in the vein of Oktoberfest would be more Fest beer than lager, more Fest beer than Marzen, despite the color. The color is definitely more Marzen, but it smells a lot more Fest beer. So we'll not waste any more time and see what camp the taste falls in. Cheers. Dare I say, and the only way I would be able to say this is being the order I've done these lives in so far, these first two lives. This tastes like what I imagine. Again, it was a little bit of assumption in the previous live as far as what the strategy versus execution was with Westbrook's Marzen beer. But if my assumption was correct, this is, I think, what they intended that beer to taste like. Which is funny because Legal Remedy made zero effort to discern whether this was a Marzen or a Fest beer. They just said, well, Oktoberfest, obviously it was a pun on words for Oktoberfest. They didn't make any kind of distinction what type of Oktoberfest beer it was. But this really does taste like what I assume was the strategy for Westbrook's beer and how they wanted to come out, because it has the body and mouthfeel of grainy, floral type of yeast-based lager. It very much has that beer-flavored beer quality about it. But there is more of a malty sweetness in it. It doesn't have that caramelly note, so it doesn't taste like a full-on in-your-face Marzen. But it does have that malty sweetness in there. So this one does kind of dance in both camps. It's just weird because they didn't put it in either camp. So the only reason I probably think that is because I had that previous beer that I don't know, but I think was the intention of that beer. So it was very interesting to drink these in the order I did because I could kind of guess where Westbrook was trying to go with theirs. And Legal Remedy, who made absolutely no indication of what direction they were trying to go with this, tastes like exactly what I think Westbrook was trying to do. It's got a fuller body than the Westbrook one did, but it's still a fairly light body. It's still quite crushable. As it kind of sits around, it comes kind of more back to that floral fest beer type of note, but that malty sweetness dialed it down a bit, enough so that it doesn't really taste like a true fest beer. So this very much, I think, is a hybrid of the two. It's just interesting that Legal Remedy didn't declare it as such. They just said it's just Oktoberfest, Which to me, my indication, if I see a beer that claims to be Oktoberfest or a pun on words, Oktoberfest, my first assumption is Marzen first. Unless you claim to be a fest beer, I'm going to assume that you are a Marzen. That's kind of where I go, and maybe that's just because of my own biases. But the first Oktoberfest I had was the OG Sam Adams, so that's kind of. And fest beers, like I said in the previous live, I didn't really know that was a different style of Oktoberfest until the last few years. So to me, like if you don't outright say what type of Oktoberfest it is, my first assumption is going to be a Marzen. So that was kind of where I thought this was going. I see the color; it's darker. I'm thinking Marzen. It didn't really smell like one, so then I kind of went, okay, maybe it's more fest beer. And then it kind of has that hybrid flavor and more of a hybrid flavor than the previous beer I had was actually seemingly declaring itself to be. So very, very interesting juxtapositions between the first two Oktoberfests I've done in this live series of Oktoberfest for the season. But still a tasty beer, and one I will have no problem finishing. Cheers, friends. We'll sign off for now. And as Paul from PA Brew says, watch that finger.